Who's the dumbest person you've ever met? A girl in my school was using a calculator on a test and typed in the math problem in wrong. She then proceeded to type syntax error as an answer. Back in high school, a guy named Kevin was arguing with me and anyone who would listen, saying that STDs are prevented by having sex. After about a minute of explaining to him what STD meant, I decided to just say let's agree to disagree. But he didn't let it go. He pulled out a $50 bill from his wallet and bet me that he was right. After he looked it up, the crowd mentality forced him to pay up. TL. Dr. Dumb high school student bet me $50 that STDs are prevented by having sex. And the legend of Kevin continues. My psych class. One girl asked, is eye color a behavior? Full stop. Not really stupid. More WTF. But she also said she wanted to have a pet baby. Not wanting a pet. Or a baby. A pet baby human. Is mayonnaise an instrument? I knew a guy who shot up peanut oil to slow the flow of blood to his brain to keep him in a constant state of being high. He's dead now, not from the peanut oil. Drug overdose a few years later. Well, I guess he was just a real nutter. I recently taught a college student how to add 4 numbers together. I know a guy who got a composite score of 4 on his ACT. I know. It sounds impossible. I thought it was 2. But I was at his house when his mom got the mail with his score on there. And I saw the piece of paper myself. The guy who wound up wanting to fight me because I was explaining to him that calamari was Italian for squid. He insisted people do not ever eat squid. The delightful conversation with a man who insisted all zebras in Africa are extinct. Although I had just returned from there with photographic evidence from just 2 weeks before. I had to explain to a girl that penguins were not fish. I had to explain to another girl who I told this story to why the first girl was not correct. Brother's girlfriend. Did you know Poland was the only country not affected by World War I? Hitler wasn't a bad guy. They just gave him the wrong job. I like cows. They're cute and they have big eyes. But I don't like horses. They're big and they look like cows. Wine that comes in plastic is fancier than wine that comes in glass bottles. Because plastic has more technology. As my brother is cooking her a filet mignon, she looks at the steak in the pan for a minute before asking, is that the whole fish? A girl in my class believed that Neanderthals ate ice and cheese. Bonus. She didn't know eggs came from chickens. She thought they were manufactured in a factory. I worked with this girl last summer who was beyond dumb. At first it was amusing. But then it just got really sad. We were talking about Nelson Mandela being really sick. This was in June. And she said, well, I sure hope she'll be okay. Her music is so good she thought World War II was between America and Africa. She thought potatoes could only grow in America, and when asked what her boyfriend's name was, she said, I can't really pronounce it, so I just call him Mike. I know a girl who wrote a paper about how polar bears only live in Poland. I saw a guy try to plug a 3.5mm headphone jack into a USB port once. Not accidentally or anything, he actually spent a good minute working it out. A girl in class said, wait. I thought pork chops came from chickens? My friend had it made into a t-shirt. Almost forgot about my college roommate. She once missed the first 3 exits to a city because she forgot where she was going. She once told me she would never breastfeed her children because it would hurt too much to poke the holes. When asked how she thought animals nursed their young, she said, well, don't they just gnaw the ends off? Edit to add. She also got into a drunken knockdown fight in the street with another girl over a gay guy. There was a girl in my high school who thought rhinos were the last remaining dinosaurs. Oh, and she was shocked when she found out that rice came from plants. Smart girl. That one. I thought rice came from Asia. I know a girl who genuinely believes that gorillas and giraffes are not real and the ones at the local zoo are just people in costumes. sister who is a year older than me. Caesar Obama Biden signed, so that's Obama's last name. Biden. We had to watch the movie Defiance in my English class, and afterwards this girl put her hand up and asked, "Is Jewish a country?" Later on, after watching Defiance, which is about 3 Jewish brothers in Nazi-occupied Europe, for the second time she asked, "Wait, were they brothers?" I wanted to throw a stapler at her. Had a roommate who was about 6 months late on rent. It's a 10-month lease and we're in month 8. They're threatening to sue us. Full stop. He got a tuition refund. $700. 2 months rent. He goes to play poker with it. Despite our constant pleas not to. Doubles up. He shows us the $1. $400. Because he's dumb like that. This is Saturday night. Office is closed Sunday. I go to work Saturday night. And then work a long shift Sunday. Feeling good. Monday after classes. He comes in. First question. Did you pay the rent? Bumbling stumbling excuses. I paid off some credit card balances and some other money I owed my parents. So how much did you give the complex? None. Blew my f-king lid. Almost punched him right then and there. I will bet every penny to my name that he went back to the tables Sunday night and lost it all. Somehow he came up with the money though. He came up with the money by owing his parent again. Had a classmate in 8th grade who legitimately thought that the ocean had no bottom. Our teacher showed a diagram of the deepness of the ocean. And she just couldn't grasp it. I don't know how you get all the way to 8th grade without learning that the ocean doesn't just drop off into nothing. A girl from high school physics. If the speed of light is 310 circumflex 8 ms. What is the speed of dark? And later that year. If China is 12 hours ahead of us. Why didn't they warn us about 9/11? What is the speed of dark? Usain Bolt has a record of 9. A girl in my 10th grade history class said, "I don't believe in Europe because I haven't seen it." Also, a different kid was asked to leave the class and he replied, "Bitch, how is I supposed to learn if I leave?" The joy of public education. Well, that kid had a point. I have posted this before. But in freshman biology class we were reviewing the subatomic particles. And the teacher asked a girl to list them. She responds with protons, electrons, and Decepticons and could not figure out why the class was laughing at her. Dumb. Clearly the Decepticons are not neutral. Looking over a test I took in college, one of the girls in the class with me was amazed that I got an A. She said, "That test was so hard. I failed it." I asked her if she studied at all. She said no. And she told me she was drunk when she took the test. This guy in my history class once asked, "Didn't Hitler die from breast cancer?" Girl in my astronomy class. "So if I went out into space could I like push the stars around and knock them into each other and stuff?" Teacher. "No. They are incredible massive objects, girl. But they look so little." I was around 8-10, or whatever the normal age is when you know your own address. And I just made a new friend and she invited me over to her house to hang out. I planned on dropping by after taking my things home, so naturally I asked for her address. She grabbed a paper and pencil and started drawing 3 houses. She pointed to the middle house and said, "I live here." TLDR. Never talked to her again. This girl at my school. "I don't swim a lot during the summer because I do not want to get water cancer." You mean skin cancer? From the sun? No. Water cancer. You can get cancer from the pool water. Full stop. Help me. This girl saw double cheeseburger on a restaurant menu and she got all excited. Thinking it meant double cheeseburger, extra cheese. She was confused when there was 2 patties in the burger. That girl was me. My boyfriend still laughs at me. TLDR. I like cheese. Edit. Apparently a lot of you are on my side. Thanks friends. Edit 2. My highest rated comment is about cheese. This girl, at the age of 22, took an electric fan and threw it in a bathtub to clean it. The apartment lit on fire. She was surprised. No one will ever see this on a thread this old, but I once worked with someone who asked me if they make air conditioners. Why don't they make air shampoo? And was dead serious. Chris Grayling, Minister for Justice here in the UK and also my local elected representative. He just banned prisoners from being able to receive books. Really going to improve their rehabilitation and reintegration with society. I simply can't believe the abject stupidity of this. This isn't close to the stupidest thing she said, but it's the only thing I can remember. Girl at my high school admitted in class to pouring an entire jug of antifreeze on her windshield to melt the ice. That ass though. Never stick your dick in crazy. Stupid is just fine. This chick I used to work with. Here's a prime example. I told her I was going to Ethiopia and she replied, "Oh my god, Europe is supposed to be beautiful this time of year." I also told her I was from Philly. I now live in California. And she asked what state is that in? Boston? Maybe she misheard and thought you said Estonia. A teacher I worked with as an assistant needed me to record myself reading questions aloud for a listening test. It took me almost 5 minutes of arguing to explain that screaming into the jack the mic plugs into wouldn't work. There was a girl in life sciences who, when asked what nutrients plants give us, said salad and was serious. Created a user account. Password has a D in it. He locks himself out. Tells me over the phone he couldn't find a backwards B. A girl I met in high school. I once spilled water on the table and was asked, "Is that clear Pepsi?" Crystal Pepsi did exist. How many years ago was this? When I was 19. I waited tables with a girl who didn't know how to tell time. She was 18. Fresh out of high school. Now, she wasn't like mentally retarded or anything. She was just really dumb. She also went to the kitchen and asked the cooks how to roll a joint. She explained that she had weed and paper, but couldn't roll it. Our boss was right behind and had to have heard her. The cooks told her to shut the FCK up. She did stuff like that all the time. And she sat people at the wrong tables. Messed up orders. And forgot her schedule and would be late, miss shifts a lot. Anyway. She had a scholarship to play volleyball at the university. But dropped out of college after she failed the athlete's drug test about 2 months into her first semester. I think she's in beauty school now. This girl I knew used to rewind YouTube videos so the next person wouldn't have to wait. I simply tipped my fedora and let her carry on. I might as well post here too. In freshman year, about 2 whole months into our new classes, I came into class one day to meet a girl I'd never seen before. She looked familiar, though. I sat down and not so long after, she took her seat next to me. A few minutes later, I overhear her talking with some friends saying, "Yeah. They told me if I skipped one more class, they're kicking me out of school." Bullshit. What kind of a place is this? That's right. She skipped 2 whole months of first period and had the audacity to complain about almost being kicked out of school. So do you speak Asian? What the FCK, girl? What the FCK? The worst part is she asked me that question twice that day. I worked with a sweet young lady who confessed that it wasn't until after college that she realized that gasoline wasn't 87, 89, or 93 cents per gallon. And yes, it was because she was finally paying for it herself instead of using daddy's credit card. I got confused there because that's how much gas cost before I went to college. Not met him. But Joey SX doesn't know how to blow his own nose. That's not so bad. I couldn't blow my own nose until I was 16. I have unusually poor control over my body. It took me until I was 12 to successfully blow up a balloon. And I finally mastered swallowing pills at 28. I guess I nominate myself. My old roommate's boyfriend. He spent the better portion of dinner movie stating how food has too much preservatives in it anymore. And that's why there are trees that have been petrified. Petrified trees. Because of preservatives in food. Also, you can't eat buckyballs, or any magnet in general, because your body works off of electrical currents. And if you ate a magnet, it could disrupt them. She was also pretty dumb. Spent an entire night sobbing about being pregnant. Gets an abortion. And then makes a point to call out people on Facebook for discussing the topic. Saying things like I could never do that to an unborn child. Every child is a gift. When that whole brainless kid fiasco was happening on Facebook a few years back. I don't miss either of them. One of my wife's girlfriends. Someone told her a riddle about a train traveling north at a certain speed etc. To which she replied, "Oh, you can't fool me." A co-worker of my dad's, whom I've met a few times. She was a middle-aged woman and she believed that there were huge black lines on the ground separating each of the states in the US. You know how they show the state borders on political maps? Yeah. She thought those were really there. One of my exes. He bit into an onion ring at Arby's. I was surprised because he hates onions, but then he announces to the whole table there are onions in this. I thought they were made out of potato. He said stuff like this all the time. Now I want potato rings. Just. Whoa. I never knew I wanted something like that. I know a girl who thought the world used to be in black and white. She thought color only came in the 60s. I actually asked my grandmother this when I was a kid. My ex-roommate's boyfriend. He was 22. He actually idolized Bieber, One Direction, etc. and did everything he could to be like them. He was also homophobic. Probably gay because he often wore his girlfriend's clothes from Forever 21. And refused to get a job because the band is totally gonna make it. Full stop. He also pushed his girlfriend down a set of stairs. And was so in love with himself that he took mirror selfies. Posted them on his Facebook. Then sent them to his Facebook page that he made for himself. Absolutely the worst person I've ever met. To make sure he didn't come to the house, I actually convinced him that our building was built on an ancient Indian burial ground and that strange things did happen from time to time. He never came back. I like how pushed her down the stairs is slid in there like he left dirty plates on the counter. Katy Perry once shopped the Whole Foods market I manage. She wouldn't let my cashier's hand touch her food. The personal assistant proceeded to take my cashier's spot, insisting Katy may get sick from worker contact. That's pretty dumb. Edit. For the record. This sort of thing is pretty common. Katy may have been weirder than most. But famous people get strange about plebeian contact. Edit 2. I want to be very clear about something. She wasn't being a bitch about the checkout situation. Just making a celeb request. I said. This happens all the time. I'm not posting this to paint her as a monster. Just a bit dense. I don't know if that makes her dumb. Necessarily. But that sort of action is really obnoxious. Self-important. Pompous and plenty of other negative adjectives that come to mind. Whoa. Seems like most of Reddit met that dumb girl in high school. Fkin Stacy. That bitch. Yeah, but her mom though. Like holy shit, did she have it going on. Taylor Swift. She lives 5 minutes from me and she tried to claim a public road as her own. Cut the shitty lady, our taxpayers were here before you were. One girl in high school. Let's call her Lisa. Honestly thought that gravity didn't exist and the reason why we didn't just float away was because of our weight. Took about 10 minutes to explain that gravity gave us our weight. She then proceeded to ask if gravity could, in her words, break like a pencil. After explaining this impossibility, she finally stopped talking. The very next day, she confused Newton with Al Gore. No joke. She was really nice, though. I have a friend who one day asked with complete sincerity, "Who is this Al Qaeda guy?" And why is everyone so mad at him anyway? My old roommate, we'll call her Kim, was hands down the dumbest person I'd ever met. Once, we went to Little Caesars to pick up pizza for everyone back at our house. So she called her boyfriend to see what he wanted. He says to her, "I want a pizza with half cheese and half Hawaiian." She hangs up and proceeds to order him a pizza with half cheese and half Hawaiian with no cheese. I told her, "Kim, not sure that's what he had in mind." To which she replied, I think I know my boyfriend better than you. If he wanted cheese, he would have asked for it we got home." He opened his pizza, looked at her, and said, "Are you fking dead?" She ran to her room and cried. We got high and laughed at her. Good times all around. Let's all remember that to a certain degree. A person not knowing something doesn't mean they're dumb. We were studying Romeo and Juliet in high school. The teacher was discussing the prologue and the deaths of the main characters. To which a girl shouted, "Spoilers. Why would you ruin the ending?" A friend of mine back in 6th grade learned only natural born citizens can become president of the United States. Says she can't become president as she was a C-section baby. Probably a girl from my high school history class. Two classic quotes of hers are, "Where was the Berlin Wall, sir? And did Hitler not like Jews? Full stop." Reminds me that one girl years back in high school who just wouldn't shut up.